Hi guys, I'm back. It's Tuesday and we are on to lesson 7 for our unit on community economics. We are going to be learning today about supply and demand. And before we do that, let's go over what we learned about yesterday, producers and consumers. Yesterday we learned that producers are those individuals in the community who make and sell things. And we learned that consumers are those of us in the community who buy and use those goods and services. We also learned that people can be both producers and consumers. Today we're going to go on in our lesson and we're going to talk about supply and demand. And Mrs. Moran is again going to try to share the screen with you and our book that we're going to be reading. Before we start, we want to make sure that that is nice. Ooh, wrong one. Let's try it again. While I'm working on this, you go ahead and make sure that you have your book, and we are on. There we go. And so our target for today is by the end of the lesson, we should be able to. Nope, that's yesterday's lesson. So give me one more minute till I find the right lesson. There we are. So we want this, and we want this, and we want this, and we want our target lesson, our target for today. All right, nope, it's still taking, oh, there we go. All right, so today's lesson is supply and demand. And by the end of today's lesson, we should be able to explain how supply and demand affect what people buy. Okay, so in our social studies unit so far, we've been learning about how people work to earn money, buy goods and services, things they want and need, and how people can be both producers and consumers. If you go to the store to buy something, are you a producer or are you a consumer? That's right, you're a consumer because you're there to buy the goods and services that are being offered at that particular store. How many of you have ever gone to a store to get something and they didn't have any more of the item that you wanted? Right now, that's probably any of us at any given time when we go to the store, because right now we are finding it difficult to find some of the things that we need to help us enjoy our lives right now, or things that we need to survive. Certain pieces of food might not be available to us right now. Sometimes stores will have too much of an item and no one who wants to buy it. And that's called supply and demand. Okay, right now, the supply in many stores for many of the goods that we want is low, while the demand for those items are high. All right, so you have your book and you're going to follow along with the book that is on the screen. Tegan and her mom are on their way to the store to buy an umbrella. It has been raining for days, and the weather forecast says that the rain is going to continue until next week. When they get to the store, they rush over to the umbrella rack. Oh no, the rack is empty. All of the umbrellas have been sold. Tegan and her mom decide to come back tomorrow to check for more umbrellas. Tegan and her mom couldn't buy an umbrella today because of something called supply and demand. Supply is how much of a good or service is available. If you look at the shelves in a store, you'll usually see lots of items. Those items are the supply of the store, how much they have to sell. In Tegan's case, there was no supply of umbrellas left to buy. Can you think of some things that might have no supply or low supply of at the store right now? When we went to the store, there was no supply of eggs at the store. There was no supply of ground beef at the store. There was no supply of toilet paper or paper towels at the store. Demand is how much a certain item is wanted. The things that people who buy goods and services want to buy changes over time. Right now, the demand for some of those things that I mentioned is high. Usually it is not, but right now it is. Many people in Tegan's community bought umbrellas. Why? Because the weather was very rainy. When an item is needed, the demand goes up. If it were sunny and dry for weeks, do you think the demand for the umbrellas would be the same? No, of course it wouldn't, because people wouldn't need umbrellas if it was sunny outside. Supply and demand can affect the prices of things. If a lot of people need to buy umbrella, the store may raise the price. They can charge more because there is a high demand for umbrellas. If it is very dry with no rain, the store may put umbrellas on sale. They lower the price so that hopefully people buy them. Let's look at some other examples of supply and demand. It is winter. The weather is cold and snowy. Mink Market is selling winter boots. People rush to the store to buy boots. Is the demand high or low? It's high because it's winter and it's cold and snowy. All of the boots are purchased and there are none left to sell. Is the supply high or low? That's right, it's low because there are none left to sell. It is now summer. Mink Market accidentally gets a shipment of winter boots, but no one wants to buy them. Is the supply high or low? You're right. They just got a shipment, so the supply is high. Is the demand high or low? You're right again, it's low. Why is it low? Because it's summer and nobody needs boots in the summer. Sometimes many people want a good and there is not enough available. This is called scarcity. At Christmas, many kids in Nina's town really want this new toy called the Whooping Walrus. Their parents scramble around trying to find this special toy for their kids. Stores sell their supplies within minutes. The demand is high and the supply is low. There are not enough whooping walruses for each child to get one. The whooping walruses are scarce, just like many of the goods that we would like to have right now. Supply and demand affects choices people make. They decide what to buy and when to spend their money. Supply, demand, and scarcity all affect how people spend their money in our community. All right, so we're going to look at some cards, which normally in the classroom we would do the stand hand share, but we're not able to do that, so we'll do it with our PowerPoint slides instead. It's spring. Targop just received a large delivery of bathing suits to sell. Is the supply high or low? That's right, it's high because they just received a large supply of bathing suits. Now it's summer. Targop hardly has any bathing suits left to sell. Is the supply high or low? The supply is low because it's summertime and everybody wants to go swimming, so they need a bathing suit. So they've come to the store to buy them. The supply is low. It's a very hot and dry summer. The Cherry on Top ice cream shop is very busy. Is the demand for ice cream high or low? You're right, it's high. It's hot outside. People want to cool down with some ice cream. The weather is getting colder and it's almost winter. The Cherry on Top ice cream shop is going to close for a few months. Is the demand for ice cream high or low? Why? You're right, it's low because it's not hot and dry out anymore. It's kind of cold. People don't want to stop at the ice cream shop as often because it's not hot and dry. They're cold. They want something to keep them warm, like some hot chocolate. It's August. Some kids are getting ready to start a new school year. Everyone needs school supplies. Is the demand for school supplies high or low? That's right. Demand for school supplies is high. School is just about to start. Ooh, and everybody needs supplies for their classroom. Stores are stocking up for back to school. They get new shipment of school supplies in every day. Is the supply of school supplies high or low? The supply is high because the store is getting in new shipments every day. There is a cool new toy robot called RoboMan that every kid wants. Is the demand of RoboMan high or low? That's right, it's high because every kid in the neighborhood wants it. Stores all over are selling out of RoboMan every week. Is the supply of RoboMan high or low? That's right, it's low because the stores are selling out of them every week because the demand from children is so high. Okay, and so I want to go back to our target. We can explain how supply and demand affect what people buy. Remember, supply is how much of an item is for sale, and demand is how much people want the item or the service. And supply and demand affect how people will spend their money. If the demand is high and the supply is high, people are going to spend their money, okay, on a particular thing that they want. If the supply is high and the demand is low, for example, it was hot and sunny and no rain in the forecast, and there was a high supply of umbrellas, more than likely people are not going to be buying an umbrella because they don't need it. Okay? So if something has a high demand, it means that a lot of people are interested in that product and a lot of people want to buy that product. When you are finished with today's lesson, you might want to go back and reread the book on your own. And when you're finished rereading the book on your own, you will find that this page is at the bottom of the lesson attached, and you are going to complete it like you normally do. Those of you who can print are going to print. Those of you who are trying Lily's new idea of saving as an image and then opening it up in Paint, you'll be able to complete it there. Those of you who don't have access to either of those options, you're just going to do the best you can to replicate it in your social studies notebook, okay? You're going to let me know if what you see in this picture is low supply or high supply, and what's in this picture is low supply or high supply. You're going to tell me, what does it mean if something has high demand? And then you're going to answer the true and false questions. When you're finished, be sure to take a photo of your work and send it to me. All right, that's it for now.